All right, let's talk about Sean Combs, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, the man who has had more name changes than a spy on the run. Decades, this guy was the undisputed king of, well, everything. Music, fashion, vodka that tastes vaguely like coconut sunscreen. If you could put a logo on it, he was selling it. He built an empire so big, we all just assumed he'd eventually buy the moon and rename it Planet Diddy. But it turns out, while he was building that empire, the foundation was apparently made of dynamite, lawsuits, and an absolutely staggering amount of baby oil. And in November 2023, his ex-girlfriend, the singer Cassie, lit the fuse. She filed a lawsuit that was less of a legal document and more of a horror movie script. We're talking allegations of non-consensual acts, trafficking, and a decade of abuse. It was brutal. And then just as the world was processing it, they settled in one day. One day. I've had leftovers in my fridge for longer than that lawsuit was active. Now, Diddy's lawyers called it blackmail, but the rest of the world looked at a one-day, multi-million-dollar settlement and thought, that's not I'm innocent speed, that's please don't show the receipts speed. And that settlement wasn't a fire extinguisher, it was a bucket of gasoline. Because suddenly, everyone had a story. The floodgates were blown off their hinges by a tidal wave of accusations. We had lawsuits for men, women, former employees, people from the 90s. It was like he was collecting accusers over a 30-year period. One producer, a guy named Lil Rod, even amended his lawsuit to include actor Cuba Gooding Jr., alleging he was groped on Diddy's yacht. It got so wild you half expected your grandpa to file a lawsuit claiming Diddy stole his parking spot in 1998. This, predictably, got the attention of people who don't care about platinum albums, the federal government. In March 2024, Homeland Security, the guys who look for spies and smugglers, raided Diddy's mansions in Miami and L.A. Helicopters, armed agents. It looked like the final scene of an action movie. This all led to the main event, the federal trial of the United States versus Sean Combs. The prosecution claimed Diddy's empire doubled as a full-blown criminal enterprise built around secret freak-offs, multi-day events so chaotic they made Fyre Festival look like a church picnic. Now, what was the defense? Get this, his lawyers stood up in court and said, yes, my client is a difficult guy, yes, he can be violent, but this wasn't a criminal enterprise, it was just a consensual swingers lifestyle. They tried to frame these freak-offs as just a quirky hobby, like collecting stamps or competitive bird watching, but with more felonies. The prosecution's star witness was Cassie, who testified for 4 days about the abuse she endured. And they had a trump card, a 2016 hotel security video that CNN got their hands on. It shows Diddy, in a towel, chasing Cassie down a hall, throwing it to the ground, and kicking her, repeatedly. After denying everything, the video dropped, and suddenly Diddy released an apology video on Instagram saying he was disgusted with himself. Disgusted he did it, with disgusted he got caught in crystal clear HD. So after all that, the jury comes back with the verdict that confused everyone. They found him not guilty of the big ones, racketeering and sex trafficking. He dodged the life sentence. But they found him guilty on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. Then came the sentencing. Diddy gets up in court, crying, apologizing to his mom, saying the old me died in jail and he's been reborn. It was a whole performance. His lawyers showed a 12-minute video of his charity work and called him a civil rights leader. The prosecutor then stood up and informed the judge that this reborn man had already booked speaking engagements in Miami for the following week because he was so sure he was walking free. The judge was not impressed. He sentenced Sean Combs to 50 months. That's 4 years and 2 months in federal prison. With time served, he'll be in for about 3 more years. The judge basically said, your good deeds don't wash away the bad, and that Diddy's power and money are the only reasons this went on for so long. And his empire, it's dust. Macy's dropped his clothing line. Peloton pulled his music. Howard University revoked his honorary degree, and the mayor of New York literally asked for the key to the city back. They basically changed the locks on New York City. So the guy who spent a career telling us it's all about the Benjamins is now a convicted felon with a ruined empire and facing dozens more civil suits. I guess you could say he finally took one L he couldn't just sample and turn into a hit.